Here's a quick overview of our time management presentation. Time management is a much overused term these days, and we wanted to hit a couple high-level bullet points, and we're going to make some documents available to help you start to work on and think more about your time management. A few of the reasons you should manage your time are to have a better, more balanced life, improve productivity, lower stress levels, preparedness, and both actually being more prepared and feeling more prepared, improve focus, and also learning the art of saying no. Important thing to remember is that no is also a complete sentence. We often try to justify or say no, but, or maybe I could do this, but sometimes just simply saying no is a great way to better manage your time. There are a number of ways to manage your time. A written list is one of the best and probably easiest ways to sit down and write down your priorities, things you spend your time doing currently, things you wish you didn't spend your time doing, or things you wish you spent more time on. So just simply getting out a piece of paper and pen and just writing down some thoughts and ideas is often just a great way, and maybe an often overlooked way, to really focus on where your time is being spent. Obviously, there are all kinds of online computer calendar time tracking things. If that's your thing, that's certainly available more than ever these days. Simple time blocking, just saying, hey, I do this at a certain time every week, or every morning I do this, can be great ways to better manage your time. Also, setting aside time to actually reevaluate your time management and what you're working on is something I think a lot of people try to just lay out a time blocking or a time management plan and just stick to that and never really stop and look at if that's working and how it's working. There's a concept called the big rocks concept. I believe it was originated by Stephen Covey. There's been multiple iterations over the years about it, but the idea is that if you put in the big rocks first, the big rocks being the big things you want to do, the things that are really important to you, if you put those in first, then all the other stuff seems to filter around those and it all seems to happen and get done, like the image on the right here. The image on the left, if you put all the stuff in first and then try to cram in the bigger things that you want to get done, your goals or your family time, they don't all fit. So some of them get left out, and most often it's the big important things. So some of the big rocks in your life might be time with loved ones and family, your faith or your education or dreams, pursuing a worthy cause, something important to you, or teaching or mentoring others. So if you want to learn more about this, it's pretty easy to Google. There's probably all kinds of videos and other ways to describe this. There's a great sermon that Andy Stanley gives that shows this visually, also very cool. So if you're interested in that, search that out. A couple of items to consider in your time blocking. Now, these are specific to real estate, but things like getting to know the market, making prospecting calls or making client calls, whether they're current clients or past clients, transaction management, things like creating content or social media. We'll provide these in a separate document below this video, so be sure you don't need to take all these down right now, but we'll make sure this list is available. And certainly there are many other things, but wanted to give you guys some kind of high level or itemized list of some of these things that you might consider blocking out time for specifically. Some other tips. Mornings, for me personally, mornings are really super important. I try to start my day off balanced and right. A little bit of me time, coffee time, some exercise or whatnot. It really, really makes sense. If it's difficult for you to do that consistently, maybe just pick one morning to start, or maybe Monday morning to start your week. It's a great way to just start balanced and focused, because days certainly get crazy in this business, but the more you can start out right and balanced and achieve maybe a couple of things off your list, then the rest of the day can be a little more spontaneous and you still feel productive. Also, like I mentioned before, just adjusting, keeping notes about what's working and what's not working. and just setting aside a time to actually just review this and make sure that it's working and makes sense, and maybe just making small adjustments and then measuring those. Also being flexible, leaving in gaps. I think a lot of people get really intense on time blocking and don't leave any gaps between for phone calls or calling people back, or a kid getting sick or having to get them at school or drop something off. So just be flexible, leave time in there. I think being a high level time blocking, having high level time blocking is great, but certainly don't schedule back to back to back time blocking, because you'll make yourself crazy. And similarly, be reasonable. Make sure, again, that it's not so loose, but also not so detailed that it's unattainable. And color coding is a great thing. I do a lot of color coding in my calendar, specifically using red for an event that I need to physically be at, because there's a little more prep work, or I may need to have a presentation ready, or certainly at least shower and get out the door a little bit before the event actually happens. So color coding can help you look at a glance at your schedule each day and have an understanding of how that works. So there's a weekly calendar. We'll also include this in the links. It's a great way to just start with some loose time blocking and just saying, hey, Monday mornings from 8 to 10, I'm going to do this, or Monday evenings, I'm going to do that. Just a great way to lay the week out in kind of a linear way. And, maybe you leave Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoons open for showings. And if you don't have showings, then you're doing follow-up with people. But something simple enough like that you could remember it. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but again, just having a little bit of a plan will help you figure out and move towards your best plan. Keeping your workspace clean or organized, or just otherwise easy to work in, is such an important thing. So, and whether that is even just sitting at a kitchen table, just any sort of workspace, I just think it's really important that you can easily access the things that you need. If you're always searching for a pen or for searching for something, then you might just consider reassessing your actual daily workspace. The other great thing about this is that you can step away from it. A lot of us work remotely or work from home. So even if you do have a separate office at home, just having it set up where it's the office and you can get up from it and come back to it periodically can also make you very much more productive. So this is a great image I love to throw in here, just to kind of show the pain of what it can be like to have piles and piles of stuff. This is not in any way a political statement, but I just an image that I really love. I love it, and it makes me cringe. So some other tips, we'll again include this document as a link under this video, but just biting off small pieces, or maybe big pieces, but just a few of them that you really want to accomplish, and setting time in your calendar or otherwise blocking out time to be focused on these, and again, just leaving that flex time for the inevitable crazy, you have to drop what you're doing and run out and take care of something. Also setting goals, so more big picture goals for the year. Again, this document will be included at the bottom, but just some personal goals and some business goals, some real high level, and to be intentional with these. I really recommend, if you're going to set down some sort of health goal or financial goal, don't just say work out more, because that's not really measurable. Something that says, I want to go to the gym 2 days a week, or I want to exercise, break a sweat 2 times a week. Or for financial goals, maybe put $100 into savings every month, not just like put away money, because that's really difficult to measure. Because if you put away $4, then that's putting away money. So be very intentional with this, and then set time in your calendar to come back and review these goals. Personally, I try to do it weekly. I don't always do it weekly, but I try to at least look at these weekly, just to make sure that remember what they are. And you also get better at this as you go. So the first time you do it, it might not be incredibly amazing, but you check off some of your goals. The next year it's a little more exciting, and a little better how to do it. Finding an accountability partner can be great for this too. Just sharing your goals out with somebody. And that could even be somebody out of industry. A lot of times that's a great way to, if somebody asks smart questions. We do this all day, and sometimes I think we get wrapped up in how we've always done it or how other people do it. And maybe talking to somebody out of the business can be a smart way to help you set strong goals and do better time blocking. There's a concept originated by Laura Vanderkam in her book 168 Hours. Um, it's essentially the same as a bucket list. I like the way that she lays it out in kind of the 100 Dreams way, that it's just such a big list. And again, I'll have some reading recommendations a little bit later that will include that book. But just writing down some of the really big things that you want to do, sometimes also known as BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, just crazy things that you want to do. And you'll find as you start to write these down or think about them or look at them that you start moving towards them. Couple of quick things here. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the concept originated by Stephen Covey and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is putting things into quadrants, things that are urgent and important, and things that are not urgent and not important, things that are urgent and important, and things that are not urgent and not important. And I've actually got a couple of slides very similar to this that we'll look at, but just the idea that prioritizing things that are urgent and important first can help you actually get to some of the other things. And then also to try to minimize the time spent on things that are not urgent and not important. Another important thing is that just being busy, especially in the real estate business, does not equal having more business or making more money or being more productive. So be very intentional about your activities. It's very easy to run around doing stuff or spending time in a cajillion training courses and never executing any of those things. So it's just very important to reassess your busyness versus your actual productivity. A few other examples are here. These are not specific to real estate, but kind of a good high-level look at things that are just busy versus truly being things that are effective, that are urgent and are important. So you're getting those big rocks done before the stuff comes in and fills up all your time. This is one of my favorite examples of that Stephen Covey quadrant. And it's interesting that social is in the not urgent and not important. Some might argue that in our business, you can do some prospecting through social, which on some level I would agree with, but I think it's also easy to get lost in social. And if it's not actually bringing you more business and you're spending a lot of time in it, then that's something you should probably reassess. So some other great examples. I also love the idea that the urgent and important things are things to manage. The not urgent but important things are things that you focus on. Urgent and not important are things to be very careful of, like emails always coming at you and notifications always going off and things always happen and some meetings that are not important. And then again, limiting things that are not urgent and not important. Some reading recommendations. I mentioned before, 168 Hours, You Have More Time Than You Think by Laura Vanderkam is a very good book about balancing work and family. Just highly recommended. She's also got some great materials online and periodically runs what she calls a time management challenge, for lack of a better term, time tracking challenge. So definitely check her out online and sign up for her email list if that's of interest. A book by Andy Stanley called Choosing to Cheat. The title has actually recently changed to this book, but the idea is that if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and to start thinking about that the things that you're saying yes to, you're saying no to somewhere else. So also a good book about balancing family and work. The One Thing by Gary Keller is, of course, a very relevant book about focus and doing the right things and for the right reasons. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, of course, is mentioned earlier by Stephen Covey. And also The 4 Disciplines of Execution by his son, Sean Covey, is a great book focused on prioritizing and getting things done in efficient and appropriate ways. So I hope these things help. Again, some of these documents and lists will be below this video. If they're not, there should be a link below the video that will take you to them. So I hope this helps. Really give this a shot. Feel free to drop us a comment if you have thoughts or questions. We're always happy to help.